Oh yeah, wait, we gotta wait for him, not me.
That's what I do. How's yours? Yeah, they messed up. It was fun. I'm glad to get back. You know, after about 14 days, I'm not close. About 14 days, I'm outside of the
Yeah, I would say so. Longest I've ever gone is like 8 days.
longest I've ever gone was 17 days when we went to Italy. And that was I couldn't wait to get back into the hamburger and some kind of I enjoyed it. You know what the food out there, Italian food.
Best place.
I'm curious. Well, I'll do my best. I will do my best. All right, legal concern, we need to get started. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. And we need to do roll call.
All right, and I'm filling in for several people, so.
I'm filling in for
There you
Warren.
go, good. The mayor is out, and so is Alderman Odenwald, so we have Alderman Travel Lee, President of the Board, is filling in as our chair. And Alderwoman Gorman.
Here.
Alderman Peters.
Here.
Alderman Lauder.
Here.
And Alderman Reeves.
Here.
All right, we do have a quorum.
Okay,
Mr.
very good.
Chairman.
And our first order of business is our public hearings. We have 3 public hearings, but I need a motion, first of all, to take A, our proposed fiscal year 2019 property tax rates public hearing, moving that to C, and making Krab, Kingz A, and Grow Automotive B.
And that way we can let them do their.
Motion to move Krab Kingz to A, is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Correct.
Along with, moving, Grow to B, and then
the property tax rates to C.
everything you said, yes.
I'll second whatever you say.
Very good, I like that. All right. So our public hearing
Clear as mud.
our public hearing is now open.
Thank you.
All right, so, Jonathan.
Yes, so our first public hearing is on Krab Kingz. We have 2 representatives from Krab Kingz. If you would stand up and introduce yourselves and a very brief description about the changes that you will do at that site.
I'm Monte Pittman.
And I'm Carly Marasotis, and at Krab Kingz, we have just gotten a little bit busy, and we're just looking to expand into the adjacent space next to us to provide our customers a little bit more space, more seating, and just all around a better experience when they come to dine at Krab Kingz.
Great.
Congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Great, so they had a public hearing with the Plan Commission on the 24th of August, and they do have a recommendation unanimously to pass the ordinance in a little bit. So if there are any members of the public or from the board that would like to ask questions of the representatives, please feel free to do so at this time. All right.
All right.
And you guys don't have to stay around for the ordinance. We'll be passing that in a little bit then.
If you'd like to
Considering it in a little bit. Thank you.
Up to you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations again. All right, let us move on to Grow Automotive.
And Grow Automotive is right next to Krab Kingz.
Hi guys, Dave Walliger.
Yeah.
We, like them, are growing as well, just moving into the adjacent car wash there. We're still doing regular operations at our car dealership at 7700 Watson Road. But we're just doing reconditioning at the car wash facility and closed several of the bays and just doing things like automotive cleanups and making minor light repairs.
Great. And congratulations.
Thank you.
As well.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Watson's
We like
fine
to
over
see
there.
businesses grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great stuff, great.
Yeah, and this will be for a couple of the bays, like 2 of the 4 bays, is that correct?
2 of the 7, yeah.
Two of the 7, okay,
Mhm.
wonderful.
So,
So he was asked a lot of questions by the planning commission, about an hour and a half's worth, and we made sure that we incorporated all of the components that the planning commission asked of you, and they have that before them tonight in the draft ordinance. if anyone has questions of Dave, please feel free to ask those now.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
you're welcome to stay, but it's not necessary.
I got a pregnant wife at home.
Well, you wanna go take
See you,
care of
Dave.
it. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Yeah, good night.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very good. I'll vote for you. All right, thank you. And next would be our proposed fiscal year 2019 property tax rates. And take it away, Danielle.
Okay. Here is the 2019 assessed values compared to the 2018 assessed values. These are set by the county every year, well, every other year, I'm sorry, reassessment years. As you can see, we were in a reassessment year this year, and residential was reassessed at about 18% over last year's values, commercial 3%, and personal property 15%. Overall, 13.4% increase in the city's assessed values this year. Those values will yield at these tax rates after we plug them into the state auditor's calculator. And you can compare from 2019 to the 2018 property tax rates for each subclass. So residential for this year would be spending 87 cents per $100 of assessed values compared to last year, slightly lower, but about the same. And then you can see commercial and personal property there.
And Danielle, these numbers are slightly different than what we have in the ordinance. And can you give the board a brief update on why that's the case?
So when we have to publish our rates for the public hearing in the paper, those are pre-Board of Equalization numbers. And we do put a clause in that these numbers are subject to change. So when they post the final numbers, which was posted I think last Friday, and the packet was sent out, they're slightly different based on the assessed values were actually come down a little bit. So you'll be voting on these numbers here. These are the post-Board of Equalization numbers. And just for an example of how it would affect a property owner, you can see in 2018 what the tax bill to the city would be. This is based on a home appraised at $150,000, so you take 19% of that and multiply it by the tax rates, and that's what you were paying in 2018 compared to the 18% increase in the 2019 assessed values. And so that's what you're gonna be paying in 2019, approximately $46 more than last year to the city.
Any questions? Comments? Hearing none.
All right, so close the public hearing.
Are now closed. Hey, thank you all.
Business.
All right, now I need a motion for the approval of the Board of Aldermen regular minutes of our regular session on September the 10th, 2019.
So move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we're on to our discussion of our October Board of Aldermen meeting dates.
So you all received an email from us, but we just wanted to make sure in a public board meeting that everyone is solidified on those dates. What would have been the 8th and the 22nd of next month, since there are 5 Tuesdays next month, the way the schedule's lined out, it looked like we'd have more people available for the 15th and 29th. So our regular board meeting will be on the 15th of October, which is the 3rd Tuesday, since October the 1st is a Tuesday. And 2 weeks after that will be October the 29th as our work session. So,
Everybody's cool? All right, very good. All right, thank you. All right, and now Chief Hayman, you have a purchase request for fire hose nozzles?
Yes, included in the 2018 and 2019 budget, we had money for replacement of hose and nozzles. This is a request for replacement of nozzles. We're replacing them wholesale across all of our apparatus. A number of reasons. One, many of them are in the life cycle. A lot of them we had repairs on, also because we have a lot of them were very different from one to the other, and it's piece of equipment we depend on every fire we go on. And so we have tried to standardize that not only within the department, but also with our mutual aid departments. So, this was approved in the capital budget. The pricing we have is from a group purchasing contract through our, set up through the International Association of Fire Chiefs. We are a member of that, and by city ordinance, we're required to purchase from group purchasing if possible, and so that's why we're calling this. Request is to approve the purchase from MES Municipal Emergency Supplies for the amount of $11,028.
And that is tax exempt.
Yes, the quote that's attached for the sort of packet had tax included, that's because they didn't have our tax letter.
And that saved us about
File.
$500.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have that on file now, so that's the amount.
Okay. Any questions? I need a motion to approve this purchase.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You got your vouchers, thank you. Alrighty, and next are our ordinances that we need to pass. First of which is bill number 2982, and it's an ordinance of the City of Shrewsbury for the use tax for general revenue, and we'll do first, second, and approval tonight. So I need a motion for the first reading of bill number 2982 by title only.
Motion for first reading?
Second.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright.
First reading of bill number 2982 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Shrewsbury, Missouri, imposing a use tax for general revenue purposes at the rate of 2.5% for the privilege of storing, using, or consuming within the city any article of tangible personal property pursuant to the authority granted by and subject to the provisions of MoRev Stat 144.600 through 144.761, providing for the use tax to be repealed, reduced, or raised from the same amount as any city sales tax is repealed, reduced, or raised, and providing for the submission of the proposal to the qualified voters of the city for their approval at the special election called and to be heard in the City of Shrewsbury on the 7th day of April, 2020.
And for the purpose of the public present, this was discussed a month ago in our board meeting, and it's about capturing online sales taxes, which would be captured as if the activity was being done within brick and mortar here located within the City of Shrewsbury. And so this helps level the playing field. The Board of Aldermen cannot make the decision to raise those taxes. The voters will do so if they deem it appropriate, and that would be at the election in April.
Okay. No. I couldn't have said that very much. I'm glad you said it. Alright, so we need to, need a motion for second reading?
Motion for second reading?
Second.
Alright, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Alright, second reading.
Second reading of bill number 2982 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Shrewsbury, Missouri, imposing a use tax for general revenue purposes at the rate of 2.5% for the privilege of storing, using, or consuming within the city any article of tangible personal property pursuant to the authority granted by and subject to the provisions of MoRev Stat 144.600 through 144.761, providing for the use tax to be repealed, reduced, or raised in the same amount as any city sales tax is repealed, reduced, or raised, and providing for submission of the proposal to the qualified voters of the city for their approval at the special election called and to be heard in the City of Shrewsbury on the 7th day of April, 2020.
Alright, questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for passage.
Motion for passage?
Second.
All right, I'll do a roll call. We're gonna start Alderman Travellini.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gorman.
Aye.
Alderman Peters.
Aye.
Alderman Lauder.
Aye.
And Alderwoman Reeves.
Aye.
And that will make Bill 2982 as ordinance of the city 2969. 2969.
Alright, next, bill number 2983, it's an ordinance regulating levies for fiscal year 2019. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading by title only.
Motion to approve.
Motion for first reading.
Move it for first reading.
Second?
Okay.
board or mayor will take a vote on.
Oh, all in favor, I'm sorry. All in
Aye.
favor? Any opposed?
First reading of bill number 2983 by title only, an ordinance regulating the levies and establishing the rates of annual taxes to be collected for the year 2019 by and for the city of Shrewsbury, Missouri.
And just to make sure that the ordinance is clear, I have from Danielle's notes that instead of on section 1 where it says residential property, where it said .392, it's .401. On B, commercial property, where it's .409, it's .413. And on personal property, that remains the same at .577. Lastly, in section 2, for the debt service levy, what's said .462 is .471. So just to make sure that that's
correct.
clear in this ordinance that you're considering now.
Okay, very good. Any other further questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for the second reading.
Motion for second reading?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Second reading of bill number 2983 by title only, an ordinance regulating the levies and establishing the rates of annual taxes to be collected for the year 2019 by and for the city of Shrewsbury, Missouri.
All right, questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for passage.
Motion for passage?
Second.
All in favor?
Do a roll call for passage. Alderman Trevelini,
Aye.
Alderwoman Gorman,
Aye.
Alderman Peters,
Aye.
Alderman Lauder.
Aye.
Alderwoman Reeves.
Aye.
5-0, and now Bill 2983 becomes City Ordinance 2970, 2970.
All right, on to Bill 2984, an ordinance granting a special use permit for Krab King's Restaurant. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading by title only.
Motion for first reading?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
First reading of bill number 2984 by title only, an ordinance granting a special use permit for Krab King's Restaurant to operate at 7740 Watson Road in the city of Shrewsbury, Missouri.
Okay, very good. Questions, comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion for the second reading.
Motion for second reading?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Second reading of bill number 2984 by title only, an ordinance granting a special use permit for Krab King's Restaurant to operate at 7740 Watson Road in the city of Shrewsbury, Missouri.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for passage.
Motion for passage?
Second.
Roll call. Alderman Trevelini,
Aye.
Alderwoman Gorman,
Aye.
Alderman Peters,
Aye.
Alderman Lauder,
Aye.
Alderwoman Reeves.
Aye.
5-0. That makes Bill 2984 Ordinance 2971. 2971.
All right, and on to bill number 2985, an ordinance granting a special use permit for Grow Automotive LLC. I'll entertain a motion for first reading by title only.
Motion for first reading?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
First reading of bill number 2985 by title only, an ordinance granting a special use permit for Grow Automotive LLC for the use of vehicle repair, including bodywork, mechanical restoration, and professional cleanup at 7666 Watson Road in the city of Shrewsbury, Missouri.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for the second reading.
Motion for second reading?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Second reading of bill number 2985 by title only, an ordinance granting a special use permit for Grow Automotive LLC for the use of vehicle repair, including bodywork, mechanical restoration, and professional cleanup at 7666 Watson Road in the city of Shrewsbury, Missouri.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for passage.
Motion for passage?
Second that.
Alderman Trevelini,
Aye.
Alderwoman Gorman,
Aye.
Alderman Peters,
Aye.
Alderman Lauder,
Aye.
Alderwoman Reeves.
Aye.
5-0 makes Bill 2985 as ordinance of the city of Shrewsbury 2972. That's 2972.
All right.
That's it for ordinances.
That takes care of our ordinances, and now we're on to any old business to come before the board. Any new business to come before the board?
I actually do.
Yes, ma'am.
Especially since we're changing the first meeting in October, we were just notified today that the two Ford Interceptor patrol vehicles that we've been waiting on since May, should be delivered the first or second week of October, so we're
Wow,
gonna
fantastic.
have to get a check cut for that. I need to talk to the mayor about that because he made mention that you guys might want one of the SUVs, which will change the trade-in value on one, so it'll change the total, so I'll let you know what that'll be. Yeah, I guess I should have asked if they met October 2019, but I'm gonna pretend that that's what they did. I also wanna let you know that we found out today, we were approved for a $5,000 blueprint grant, through the state of Missouri. It's for traffic enforcement, which is 100% recoup, we get that back. We also were awarded $7,500 for a hazardous moving violations grant, which is also for traffic enforcement, so you'll see a lot of officers out there doing a lot more traffic. I think that's a good thing. Webster Kirkwood Times had called us and asked for information. You're gonna see the story, is why I'm bringing this up. Regarding the number of stolen vehicles we've had from Shrewsbury, I think they're doing probably an area-wide story. They're trying to determine whether it is an organized crew that's coming in here to do this or more of a crime of opportunity. In our case, the vehicles that have been stolen this year have all occurred around the same time that cars were broken in or rifled through unlocked vehicles. And I think all but one of the vehicles was locked or was unlocked with keys inside. So,
Sounds like a gift.
what we're seeing is with these keyless start vehicles, they'll leave the key fob in the center console because it's easier. And then when someone opens the door and gets in, that activates the car to say, please turn the, I guess it tells them to push the button and
And they
start
follow
the
the
car, and
commands,
so I
correct?
guess they're following directions on that, I'm not sure. So
Follow
ours,
directions.
we don't believe ours to be, an organized group, it's just basically an opportunity, they're getting into unlocked cars, they happen to find the keys and decide it's an easier ride home. That's been our, analysis of it anyway. We don't, as far as suspects, we don't get suspects, and a lot of them, the cars get dumped, a lot of times over on the east side, a lot of times down the city, so, it's never really the same area. Also, we found out yesterday that our patrol vehicles are gonna be featured in Police Magazine, in a calendar that they're doing. They'll be in tomorrow to take pictures of our, patrol vehicles. I guess they have a lot of people submit different departments, and Greg Hogue, Corporal Hogue, submits our stuff, that type of thing, and we got awarded that. So I'll let you know, we're supposed to be getting 50 of those calendars. And I'm sure you're all aware of the accident at Carter Lane, with the worker up there that was killed. And I just wanted to say, Chief Amon, for those of you that don't know, met with them afterwards to offer any additional resources that they could help with, and arrange for the police or fire and police departments to go up during their roll calls in the days following that to show support, and they were extremely grateful for that. I know he won't tell you guys about that, but it meant a lot to them. It also meant a lot to our guys that responded, so that was not an easy call, I know, for our officers or for their firefighters, so I appreciate you doing that.
That was horrible.
That's all I've got.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, here's citizens. Are there any citizens that would like to come before the board? If you would, state your name and your address.
My name is Barbara Lukes, L-U-C-K-S, and I live at 5113 DeVero. And I'm wondering if there's any sort of an update on the abandoned property, yeah. Cambridge.
7738 Cambridge.
And
There is.
Turn that over to you.
There is. The property has been sold, confirmed as of yesterday. The signatories from both sides finally finished. So I'm gonna do an update to the Board of Aldermen in a couple of weeks on my department head presentation, but the good news is they are gutting it already. They're gonna bring in a trash bin, they're gonna completely gut the thing out. It is great news. It's been 10 years of suffering on our end. And so, yes, now you'll see a change finally.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We're all happy about it all.
I already had a truck over there over the weekend, I know that they were getting stuff out of the garage. My eyes were like, right on.
Is there anyone else that would like to come before the board?
I just want to make a mention that we have a young man here from Boy Scouts who's doing a project with Boy Scouts in his Boy Scout troop to look at his local civic organization. He chose local government in the City of Shrewsbury. And one of his items is to come and look at one of the board meetings, and so he's observing tonight for that project. And also after the meeting, he is going to interview the interim mayor sitting in tonight, as he's supposed to
Don't be
interview.
too tough on me.
Yeah, but softball questions only.
Yeah, I only think so.
So I wanted to recognize you. Thank you for attending and we appreciate it.
And what's your name?
Liam Jenks.
Nice to meet you.
Liam, these are gonna be really boring if you wanna entertain yourself.
We're talking about role playing, so he's good at
It's
it.
right here.
Mayor, will you require legal representation during that interview?
Yeah, I bet, he looks pretty tough. He may trip me up.
Just right here.
All right, are there any other citizens that would like to come before the board? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. meeting is adjourned.
Mike, that's not bad.
All right, thank you. I wanna,
Are you kidding me?
you know, you always wanna be able to, you always wanna come for you to come back.